What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Now, notice how I didn't say the former now name of the podcast. You might be expecting the Smith and Snap Sports Podcast, but it's not called that anymore. We are now called Married to the Game. And we have another bit of exciting news. We have a third man on the crew now. Introducing Zach Bates. Zach, how are you doing today?
Good. Long-time listener and first-time podcast associate. So I'm glad to be with the pod now and the very well-known Married to the Game. Thanks for letting me on.
Very well known, exactly.
And shout out Zach for being the one to suggest the new name of the podcast. So,
Of course. As always, I'm Noah Smith. He's Kimball Snap. You know us. And boys, I gotta tell you, Tuesdays are becoming a very exciting day for me because I wake up Tuesday morning and I roll out of bed and I think to myself, man, what do I have to live for today? And then I remember I get to go talk sports with my friends today. And
nothing but excitement and joy.
Nothing but excitement and joy when one Noah Smith rolls out of bed on Tuesday mornings. So y'all can be rest assured knowing that. Do want to mention, Kimball, I think we were getting a little bit heavy on the BYU Utah State stuff on the podcast last couple episodes because, I'm a lifelong Utah State fan. You're a lifelong BYU fan.
Yes, we are.
We had to add a Utah fan to the show. We still love Zach. But
lifetime Utah fan, Zachary Bates.
Yes, so we've got the, as Zach called it, the Holy Trinity here now. So we've got every perspective covered. It's going to be great. This will be our best podcast to date. And little rundown here. We're going to start off with a little run into professional sports in Utah, which is pissing everybody off. And then we're going to go to our hot or not takes, where we give our hot takes. The boys rate it on how likely it is to happen. Then we'll talk about the Big 12 championship race and some potential chaos that could happen there between BYU and Utah. Then we'll come to Aggie Boulevard and talk about the Utah State Aggies. Some good stuff from basketball, and perhaps one of the most heartbreaking losses in recent football history. And then we'll go into some other news around the state and make some picks to end off the show. It's going to be a great show, so if you like what you're hearing so far, make sure to give us a follow on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. And if you love your grandma, make sure you share it with her so she can share it with all of her friends as well, because grandma loves ball. And so let's run into the pros. Let's start with the Utah Jazz. Kimball, take us away.
Well, we all know the Jazz have been absolutely abysmal for years. But they've had some cool games recently. The two highest scoring games in the NBA. Scoring in their last 3 games 2 times over 150 points.
Yeah. I think one of them was through overtime, but another one was not. So one game they were just shooting absolutely lights out, and I think a big part of that probably is due to the very probably undermentioned Lauri Markkanen. He's been averaging a solid 40 points per game for the past little bit, and there's all this talk about Bronny starting instead, and so many things to talk about. But I think that's one that gets probably looked over, which I think the Jazz are in a similar spot to where they were a couple of years ago, where it was like, do we win big games or do we lose and tank? And they keep bouncing that line and flirting with it. So I'm not sure if they can make up their mind of what they want to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, honestly. It kind of feels like with the Jazz drafting Ace Bailey, they kind of have this young core in place now. They're led by Lauri Markkanen, that's a little bit older. And then they've got these new jerseys, this new brand identity. It feels like for the first time since really Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert were traded that the Jazz sort of have an identity. It feels like a fun basketball team to have in the state again. And so it's been super fun to listen. They've won both those games where they scored over 150 points, which is absurd. They're 5-8 right now, so they're not going to be a playoff team. They'll be in the lottery again. They'll be a pretty mediocre team this year, I think. But they're trying to win games, So that's all you can really ask for at this point is that you're
Which we really shouldn't have to ask for to try and win games. Like, are you kidding? I'm ready to be a Jazz fan again. Like, I remember back in the day, I'd hide out of view while my dad was watching a late night Jazz game. I was supposed to be in bed because I just wanted to watch the game.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't say I've wanted to watch their games the last couple of years.
So that it's good. It's good to be a Jazz fan again. We're starting to heal. Let's go on to the Utah Mammoth. 7 of their last 9 games they've lost.
Such a sad turnaround. You start the year 8-2, leading the country, and then you just go lay this egg. I mean, 2 overtime losses in a row hurts, but I don't know. What do you guys see? How can the Mammoth turn this around?
I think they will. I think they've got talent. I think sometimes sports is just a game of runs, right? It's a game of, I mean, the NHL season is pretty much as long as the NBA season. I've been an NBA fan for a long time, and it's something you get used to pretty quickly. Is sometimes it ebbs and flows. You know, sometimes your team's up, sometimes they're down. So I think they just got to keep working at it. I mean, they've got the guys in place really to go win a Stanley Cup. I think it might take a few more years, but I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it's just all. Are you hot now? Are you cold now? And then can you keep it rolling? I mean, just the other night they had a tough loss in overtime, like seconds left in overtime, and they just let the last one in. And so obviously a heartbreaker there, but hopefully, again, this is just a short run of wins and losses, and they can get right back up to where they started the season.
And I mean, I'd still say we'll see them in the playoffs, so that'll be exciting to see the Mammoth in the playoffs for the first time.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. All right, we're going to run in now to our hot or not takes. First, we're going to take a quick break, so grab a water, grab a snack, whatever you need to really take you through this next segment. But it's going to be a fun one. You don't want to miss it, so we'll see y'all back here in a minute. All right, now for our brand new segment on the show, hot or not takes. We can rename that later. If you have any name ideas, again, let us know. We love hearing from our fans. People have asked us personally for hot takes, and so we've got some. We haven't told each other our hot takes because we want this to be as raw and authentic as possible.
Steaming hot.
Steaming hot takes. And then basically, what the format here is, one of the boys, we share our hot take. The other guys rate it on how likely it is to happen. And then we determine if it's unlikely to happen, it's a hot take. If it's likely to happen, it's a not take. So, Kimball, I want you to start us off because it sounds like you've got a lot to say. You were talking in our pre-production meeting about some stuff that's been really bothering you.
Some feelings he's ready to get out.
Some feelings he's ready to get off his chest.
All right.
Kimball, what do you got?
So my hot take initially is that BYU will make the college football playoffs. And it's not too hot of a take, I'd say, but I think especially as we watch the odds, that's my hot take. And then I've got a follow-up, but I want to hear, where do you guys stand on that?
I think BYU making the college football playoff is like an 8. I don't think it's a super hot take, but I mean, if you're like tuning in from the national media or something, yeah, that becomes a hot take because we look at the odds right there. Utah, according to ESPN, and maybe you'll bring this up later, Kimball, but they've got a higher percentage chance to make the playoff than BYU, which I think is bogus. But Zach, what do you think?
No, I don't feel like it's too hot of a take. Like, honestly, it makes sense. If you say BYU making the playoffs, it would be like, oh, yeah, that checks out. But I guess it kind of just depends on how much they can just absolutely beat down on the next few opponents, and then if they can show some sign of life against Texas Tech when they rematch them, evidently, in the conference championship. So I don't think it's too hot. I don't think it'll be a surprise if they make it, but I don't right now. Right now, obviously, the metrics and the stats don't really support them. So I can see how it also is considered a hot take.
And here's my rant on this. If BYU does not make the playoffs, it is Kalani Sitake's fault. I'm a big Kalani supporter. Met the guy multiple times. Super good guy. He's exactly what he looks like on TV. He's that good of a guy. But he does not want it. He does not want it. KSL interviewed him after the game, and they asked him, what were your thoughts on kind of getting disrespected in the playoff rankings? And he's like, oh, I don't pay attention to that. We just play ball. I'm not the right guy to ask. Are you kidding me? You're the head coach.
That's like the
the
whole
head
point.
coach.
Yeah.
You're like, this is something I have a lot of respect for Kyle Whittingham on. Is after Utah lost to Tech and BYU, they were dead in the water. Everyone's like, oh, well, they're not making the playoffs unless they like get back into the conference championship and win. That's their only route. Now it's we'll talk about it more, but it's like conference championship games not looking super likely, but their playoff chances are sitting at higher than BYU. Why? Because in the locker room, Kyle Whittingham is saying, you guys lost. If you want back in, you got to go kill every team we play. We beat them by 30. We beat them by 40. And that's what Utah's done. And all of a sudden, people would say Utah's a better team than BYU now, despite losing to BYU. Kalani does not have that same energy, and he's totally fine with barely beating teams. And he needs to realize if BYU doesn't start doing what they did to TCU to everyone, they're not going to get in the playoffs.
Listen, I don't think it's that Kalani doesn't want it. So I would say that part of it is a very hot take. But we've talked about this at length, Kimball. We watch a lot of the BYU games on TV together, and Zach's usually there as well, and we talk about it. I think Kalani's just too good of a sport to run it up on teams, right? Like, he's up by 14 points, right? And he's like, it's a comfortable victory. You look at the Iowa State game, for example, right? It's like, okay, this game's not in question. BYU's going to walk out of here with a win. Sorry, but I think, yeah, I agree with you. BYU needs to start just body bagging teams. Like, they got to body bag Cincinnati, and they got to absolutely just obliterate UCF. Because as long as Baron Morton plays as the starting quarterback for Texas Tech, if he's in that Big 12 championship game, I don't think BYU wins that game. And so mathematically, you look at it from a resume standpoint, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, so I don't want to get too into it right now. A 2-loss BYU team, and one of those losses in the conference championship game to the same team they lost to in the regular season, they should make the playoff, right? If you're just looking at it straight on. But I agree with you, Kimball. If BYU's not just body bagging these last few opponents, I could see the College Football Playoff Committee very well being like, well, we've got this 10-2 BYU team that has a bunch of unconvincing wins, or we've got this really hot, sexy 9-3 SEC team. Pause. Yeah. But seriously, though, I could see that's how the playoff committee thinks. They see a 9-3 like Vanderbilt team, for example, because Vanderbilt's still very well in the running here, right? Or even a 10-2 Vanderbilt team, because I think they play Tennessee. I think they only have 2 losses. You look at like Vandy or something, and they see them, or even Texas, if they beat Texas A&M, and it's like, we're taking that team over BYU because BYU doesn't have those convincing victories.
I think Kalani needs to wake up a little bit and realize that the amount you win by is what
matters.
Keeping BYU out of the locked-in spot.
It matters. Yeah, go and murder teams. All right, Zach, what's your hot take?
Okay, my hot take after much thought, I think that Utah State's football team will end up in a bowl game. That's my hot take.
All right.
That's a hot take.
So, I mean, obviously a tough and disappointing loss against UNLV, which we'll probably go into talking about more later.
Oh, we have some things to say.
We've got some things.
Oh,
yes.
there
We have
are
got some
words
things to
prepared.
say. Oh, yes.
Yeah, but, I mean, I feel like both of those games are still winnable. I don't think, at least for me, looking at them, I don't feel like looking at both of those games are saying automatic losses. I think it's not looking great, but I think they can pull it out and win. I mean, that's how it was against the UNLV game. They were predicted very, very likely to lose. I mean, UNLV had a 76% chance of winning that game.
Yeah.
And Utah State was able to just keep it with them the whole time and take them to double overtime.
For sure.
So I think it's possible they end up with a bowl game.
Yeah. Kimball, how do you feel about that? How likely is that to happen at this point, would you say?
See, this is what's hard, is because UNLV was Utah State's best chance left, but Boise State is falling off a cliff right now. And so
they're hurt.
In both of these games against Boise State and Fresno State, I would give the odds of winning to the opponent, but I do agree. I do think Utah State does go to a bowl game. I think we win one of those, not because we're necessarily the better team, but I think it's because we just have more grit.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that in this last game. It's like when the game and season were on the line, I like Barnes holding that football.
It's essentially desperation mode. Like you're gonna do anything.
Crazy things happen when you're backed up against the
Yeah.
wall. Now, Zach, I don't want to like cut your hot take short. So, great people in history have said great minds think alike, right?
Exactly.
And so I want to take your hot take and I want to raise you a hot take. Is that all right?
All right, we'll play.
So there I was last night at the unearthly hour of like 2 a.m. And I was about to go to sleep, right? I get off work at 12, so it's, Mom, if you're hearing this, yeah, my sleep schedule's shot. But I'm still going to class, don't worry. And I started watching Utah State's media availability for football this week. Mm-hmm. Linebacker Bronson Olival said something that inspired me. He talked about his confidence in Utah State winning the rest of their games.
Okay.
And so, boys, my hot take is that Utah State football does not lose another game this season.
Okay.
Whoa.
That is
Fresno State.
That is.
They beat Fresno State on the road. They beat Boise State at home, and then they go to a bowl game, probably the Potato Bowl, and they win it there.
Okay.
So they end the
I don't
season
know.
8-5.
I mean, I don't know who we would play in the Idaho Potato Bowl, so it's hard for me to say if we
Probably
win
like a
that
MAC
game.
opponent. That's their tie.
Like, I think we could beat a team like that, but I mean, I'm giving that like a 10% chance. I just don't see. We're yet to win a game on the road.
I think this is a week.
I think it's generous
it
to
is
say
a week.
2 out of 3 wins.
Listen,
Yeah.
Utah State, they are a different team now. You watch that team play UNLV. If that same team shows up against Hawaii, they beat Hawaii.
That's true.
Hawaii's good though.
Hawaii's good, but if that same team shows up, I think they've got a shot.
He's right though. I mean, UNLV has been their best performance.
Every away game
has been abysmal.
Despite special teams, which we'll talk about later, I think genuinely, like defensively, that was Utah State's best game all season.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Now they killed Nevada. They beat San Jose State at home. They've got like blowout wins at home. But if you remember from those games, they allow some long passes in those games. I don't remember a single play against UNLV. There were a couple here and there, but like there weren't a ton of just like backbreaker plays. Like Utah State's defense is what allowed Bryson Barnes to come onto the field with the offense and get them down into position to win that game.
That's true. They did end the fourth quarter really well in order to put it into overtime.
Yeah, and so I mean, I don't even know how much I believe this happens, but like I think there's a real shot. Like if we beat Fresno State this week.
I give it a 10% chance. I'm not a believer.
If we beat Fresno State this week, man,
I
am telling you this becomes so much more likely. I think Fresno State's the main roadblock because they are the best defensive team in the Mountain
Yeah,
West.
That is true.
I'd agree. If we beat Fresno, I could get on that train.
Their offense hasn't been as incredible as ours has, and then their defense has been lights out compared to ours. So if our defense shows some sign of life like last time, and that gives us somewhat of an advantage, that would be great.
Oh, yeah, our defense would definitely keep us in that game for sure.
Looking at the stats for it right now, I mean, Utah State has jumped up to a 49.1%, and Fresno has a 50.9% to win. So that already is looking better for them than it did in previous weeks. So, hey, it might actually be possible.
Might happen. But awesome. Well, it sounds like I probably have the hottest take here.
Yep.
Noah was cooking late last night.
Yes, I was inspired, and then I went to sleep. Kimball, I think you come in second place with the whole Kalani Sataki doesn't want it thing. Also a hot take, but a reasonable take. Mm-hmm. And then Zach, I think your take's very plausible. Which isn't bad. I do think we'll go to a bowl game. Now, if Utah State just does what they've done all year on the road and we lose, like get killed by Fresno State, then like it becomes way unlikely. But yeah, that's been hot or not takes. We are going to take another little break. If your ears aren't bleeding yet, consider giving us a follow, a subscribe. You know the drill. If there's someone in your life that is a sports fan, thinks one of us is dashingly handsome, likes listening to our voices, you know the deal. Send them the podcast. If it's you, leave a comment. And we will see you for the next segment here in just a second. All right. Welcome back to Married to the Game. Again, subscribe, follow. We have no shame here. We will continue to ask, so please just do it. And leave a comment. Talk about your favorite sports team ever.
Hey, let us know what we should talk about on upcoming pods.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to get into BYU, Utah football, Big 12 championship race. As of right now, Utah doesn't have a very great shot to even be in the Big 12 championship game because they have 2 conference losses. BYU and Texas Tech only have 1. However, BYU has a big game at Cincinnati this Saturday, 6 p.m. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Fox Sports. I'm sure Gus Johnson will be on the call, so go check that out. Kimball, you're the resident BYU fan here. What are your thoughts on this game?
I mean, it's a big game. Big noon kickoff will be there for, I think this is like the 3rd time BYU's had a big noon kickoff game this year. Guaranteed 2nd, might be 3rd. But, I mean, it's a big game. BYU wins this, they're pretty much guaranteed to go to the Big 12 conference game. If they lose, all of a sudden, Utah might find their way in over BYU in the tiebreakers. But Cincinnati's a good team. They're not an elite team by any means, but it's a good team, and Cincinnati's got home field advantage, so it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, it'll be a big one. The way the tiebreaker basically works, if we do get into that kind of chaos scenario, is if it's only BYU and Utah tied at the end of the year in conference standings, then BYU gets in since they have the head-to-head win. However, there are currently 5 teams with only 2 losses in the Big 12 standings. So if we get to that point where there's multiple teams, it becomes kind of a who beat the common conference opponent thing. And that would be what probably gets Utah into the Big 12 playoffs. Zach, you're a Utah fan. What do you think are the Utes odds to make the college football playoff?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe ESPN and a bunch of the other analytics are giving them probably more credit than I probably would have initially. They give them a very good chance of making it, which my idea would be maybe them. I mean, obviously there's chaos that could go down, and who doesn't love a little chaos before the end of the season? And so if that does happen, then I would love to see them sneak in for the conference championship. I mean, it's happened before to the Utes back in the Pac-12, so I wouldn't be surprised if it happened again. But my only other idea that would work for them is if it was like an at-large, which I don't know. I mean, unless Utah has crazy blowouts for the next little bit, I don't know that they're going to really get a chance for an at-large stake here. So I think really it's up to whether or not BYU wins or loses this game against Cincinnati, and then I guess what everybody else does. That's the hard part with not being in control of your own destiny. You just got to see what happens with everybody else and pray for the best. So
yeah, you lose those big games and it becomes really hard, and unfortunately Utah was just on the wrong end of both Texas Tech and BYU.
And here's what I see is the Big 12's not going to get 3 bids.
No.
Should they? They probably should, but they're just not going to.
You have like the top 3 teams that beat up on each other, and then those 3 teams are definitely levels above everybody else. But I don't know.
Yeah,
So I would rather see, and I'm a big Texas fan, but I would rather see a 10-2 Utah in over a 9-3 Texas.
Yeah.
Even if Texas beats A&M, they still shouldn't be in, but they're still in the conversation. And so I think the committee needs to be open to 3 bids, but I bring it up because if Utah gets an at-large spot, it means BYU didn't. Mm-hmm. And so Utah's really got... if BYU loses to Cincinnati, I mean, I think Utah does go to the playoffs because they're not going to lose here on out. And I think that they would play Tech close, and I think it could be enough.
Here's a scenario I see for the Big 12 that I want to raise. Is say BYU loses to Cincinnati on Saturday, season's pretty much over, right?
Oh,
I mean,
done.
Alamo Bowl's cool and all, but been there, done that last year, right?
Yep.
Nobody looks forward to the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah, no one looks forward to the Alamo Bowl anymore when the college football playoffs in play. Utah already has 2 losses. If they go to the conference championship game and they lose to Texas Tech, and that's their 3rd loss, we only have a 1-year sample size on the playoff. I know it happened to SMU last year, right, where they lost and they still got in.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see the committee putting in a 3-loss Utah team. I really don't. Even if they are in the conference championship game, I do think they get penalized for that loss. And I think there are just enough SEC teams who, frankly, let's just call a spade, probably have a better strength of schedule than Utah has this year, who I think would jump Utah. into the playoff standings. And so I think Utah, it's absolutely BYU loses their game against Cincinnati. It's like that part in Cars where McQueen blows a tire and the other crew chiefs with Chick Hicks and Strip Weathers the king. McQueen blew a tire, go. But Utah's got to finish the race, right? They can't end in a three-way tie, so
yeah, it seems
they have to win it.
It seems almost like Utah, because I don't think, like, no one's going to beat Tech. Tech is just legit.
They're good.
And so I think Utah's best chance, and we kind of saw this with Georgia last year, it was kind of weird, that their best chance to make the playoffs is if they don't play in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah.
Because if they lose, I agree with you,
Then
a
it
3-loss
drops you.
Utah's not in. But a 2-loss Utah, who's got multiple blowout wins in a row, you
Gives
can
them-
make an argument for that.
That's what I fear for BYU, because if they happen to play Texas Tech again and Texas Tech also has another dominant game, I just hope that they don't drop so far down in the rankings that they lose that chance for the at-large.
But you wouldn't be too sad about that.
I mean, it possibly could give a chance for Utah, yeah, but I mean,
It shouldn't on paper, but again, we could go about just this back and forth all day. There is a chance that a 2-loss BYU team with a conference championship gets phenomenally screwed out of a playoff spot.
yeah.
And if that happens, we will talk about it and we will riot.
Oh boy,
Um,
will we?
Some things that are kind of exciting to talk about for BYU football is kind of cool. 2 things in the rushing game. So Bear Bachmeier, in this last game, he tied the single season rushing touchdown total for BYU school history. The quarterbacks that he tied it with, Zach Wilson, in that 2020 season,
Mm-hmm.
Taysom Hill,
Okay.
Oh,
and
Baller.
Steve Young.
Oh, jeez.
he's up there already.
He's a true freshman. Zach Wilson went number 2 in the draft. Taysom Hill has been a phenomenal and fun player to watch for the Saints. And Steve Young is arguably one of the best NFL quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah.
And so,
Sky's the limit.
kind of putting this out,
Sky's the
Bear's
limit.
going to break the all-time. He's going to break Steve Young's record this next game.
Dude, I've been saying it since he took his maybe not since he took his first snap at BYU, but since the first time I watched him play, I was like, oh yeah, this kid's gonna play Sundays.
He's
It'll
a
be in a
freshman.
few years. He's gonna play Sundays. He's
It's
250
crazy
He's
to
pounds.
watch.
19 years old.
250 pounds as a fresh. Like, this kid will play in the NFL, and he will have a good NFL career too. He will play in the NFL, 100%. And I think, honestly, and we can get into more hot takes later on, but I think he'll be a perennial Heisman candidate going forward. I really
mean,
do.
he's probably-
He's good.
He's up there for freshman probably
He's
of
good.
the year.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's really, really good.
And LJ Martin should hit 1,000 rushing yards in this next game as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, if BYU can punish Cincinnati on the ground and in the air like Bears also done, I mean,
It's
hopefully
gonna be
they run
over.
up the score then. and-
Yeah, it's going to be over.
They
for
can show
sure.
why they're
Big
in.
time, big time. Awesome. Well, we will predict that game later, so stick around. We are going to start going into Utah State athletics here in a minute. But first, a quick word from our non-existent sponsors. We are back because we don't have any sponsors, but we're working on it. Don't worry. If you know anyone who wants to sponsor us as a company, we'd love to promote them here on the show on Married to the Game. Let's go into Utah State basketball, boys. Oh, speaking of which, before Utah State basketball, I got a new haircut. You guys like it?
I do like it.
Thank
It
you.
looks very fresh.
Thank you. I'm feeling very happy about it. Anyway, that's a side point. Utah State basketball, 2 wins this week. Weber State and UTEP. There was a lot to like about those games. So let's start with the positive here with Utah State basketball. Kimball, what is
Here we go.
the biggest positive you've seen from Utah State basketball this season?
The biggest positive I have seen is a man named Gary Clark.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's what I was gonna
Two
say,
words.
too.
Love this man.
Gary Clark,
What
man.
an animal.
Gary Clark, man.
The only reason he's not a starter is because we put Templin in for the tip-off. So he's a starter, even though he's not listed as one. But what a performance out of this guy.
Yeah, no, Gary Clark, he is on track to do some really, really special things at Utah State. I mean, he only has 1 year here. He's a senior, so he'll be gone after this year. I was listening to Jared Calhoun's post-game press conference, though, on Saturday after the game, and he was talking about Gary Clark, and he was just saying, this guy's going to be a fan favorite for Utah State fans. because not only does he stuff the stat sheet, right? He scores a lot of points. He gets a lot of rebounds. But he's just a hard worker. He just plays the right way. He doesn't try to force three-pointers because he's not a good three-point shooter. He's not going to hit three-pointers for you. And we saw it multiple times on Saturday against UTEP where he had chances to take wide-open three-pointers, but he knew, hey, I'm probably not going to make this, so he drives the lane, he gets down low, and they play through him, and he's really the reason Utah State wins that game by as much as they do. 20 points, 13 rebounds. Absurd stat line. So we're big Gary Clark fans over here at the podcast.
Yes, we are.
Our guard play has also been really good. MJ Collins has continued to be really solid for us. Colby King has been amazing off the bench. He is a gritty player.
He is my favorite bench player.
Oh, yeah. He's so fun to watch, man.
Elijah Perryman, too, with the true freshman going for the start, also for the Aggies from their last game against UTEP, I think was also a shocker. I didn't think I would see that one coming, but he's played also quite well for
He's really good.
True freshman.
And you know, Utah State, they always kind of have like that one guy that everyone's just sort of like, okay, this guy's like the guy on the team, you know? So like for a long time it was Sam Merrill, and now I think it's generally kind of looked at as Mason Falslev. He's sort of just like, everyone's like, oh, Mason Falslev is the guy, you know? And I mean, we can talk about Falslev's inconsistencies, but like he's generally, people kind of look at Utah State, they think like, oh yeah, Mason Falslev plays there, right? I think Elijah Perryman's next in line for that for Utah State. I think he's going to become the guy at Utah State after Falslev's done. And he's been really good. He's another thing Coach Calhoun was saying in that presser is he's not afraid of the bright lights, you know? He just goes out there and he balls. He doesn't care how big the crowd is. Let's get into Utah State. There are some things that are a little concerning about this team. And the main one is their three-point percentage has just fallen off the plate.
It started so well.
It was incredible to see them fall, and then now we're hoping that anything will land.
Yeah, so they went 6 for 23 on three-pointers on Saturday against UTEP. That's good for 26%.
Yeah.
Also, 23 for 36, 64% on free throws. So a lot of the same glaring issues with shooting are starting to come back.
I mean, you live and you die by the three.
Yeah.
I mean, their first game, they shot 51%, and then we just haven't seen a number like over 30 for the past few games.
Yeah, it's been tough. So I think they definitely got to get that figured out. They just got to stop taking three-pointers when they are not absolutely, like, guaranteed, you know? Like, if you put the ball in MJ Collins' hands or Colby King's hands, and he's wide open, or even like honestly even Perryman or even Falslev, like I feel fairly confident most times that those guys are going to take and make threes. And I mean, credit to Carson Templin, he's only jacking up 1-3 a game. We got to get that down to 0, but for the most part he's been better this year. He's been better. But yeah, you got guys like I don't think our big men need to be shooting threes at all.
And I think that's why Gary Clark had such a great game, because they realized that and they said, all right, give him the ball, let him cook in the paint, because he did have a monstrous game.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think about that, Kimball?
Yeah, we seem to be good in the paint. Like our three-point is struggling.
We shot 48% for field goal on Saturday, which is a really good number. If you can shoot around 50%, you're doing really good.
For the season, we're averaging 51%.
Yeah.
But just this number that's been staring at me is Gary Clark averages 11 rebounds a game. The next closest is Mason Falslev at 5. And even Falslev is higher than everyone else. No one else is much above 3. And it's like if we can keep dominating the paint, all of a sudden we don't have to take as many threes, which I know is the style of basketball that is just played across the world now, thanks to our favorite player, Steph Curry. But
Steph Curry!
I think Utah State has found a strength with our big guys this year, and so I think we need to focus on them.
Play through them and then let guard play kind of figure itself out. I agree. So we got Tulane coming up on Friday. That's going to be in the Shriners Children Charleston Classic. Normally I wouldn't say the sponsor, but you know, it's a children's hospital, and so I'm willing to make an exception there.
Gotta give a shout out.
Man. And then I think what a lot of Utah State fans don't know, because it's not listed on places like ESPN, is depending on how that game goes, we will play the winner or loser of the Boston College-Davidson game as well. I think that game will be Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
Alma mater of Steph Curry, then.
Yeah, so we might play Curry's alma mater, honestly. So we could have Davidson.
Fun games.
I think Boston College would be better for like the net ranking and like come March if we have a win over Boston College. That's probably going to look better than a Davidson win. But I mean, Davidson's been competitive in the A10, so I mean, it's not a bad game at all. I fully expect Utah State to win out there, though. I don't think it should be too big of a challenge. So I think we come into this next podcast, episode 6-0, hopefully.
Yeah.
That'd be really awesome.
I don't see any reason why not. So
probably on the edge of a ranking too at that point.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully. And going throughout the state here really quick, BYU basketball. They've got a game against Wisconsin on Friday, also an early game. Utah State's game is at 11 a.m. BYU's game is at 2 p.m., I believe, 2:30 p.m. And that game is going to be at the Delta Center. They're playing number 23 Wisconsin, so another ranked matchup for BYU. BYU is going to be down 2 starters, though. Kennard Davis, we're still not sure what his status is with his suspension and honor code stuff. And then Kebaketa got a pretty nasty concussion in the first half against UConn on Saturday. No update on his return yet. So hopefully, if it's a minor concussion, he can be back playing on Saturday. Doesn't sound like that's likely right now, though. And so what do you guys think about BYU in these next few games? Down a couple starters.
Hey, I got to say, much respect to BYU for scheduling these like actually good games for the preseason rather than just pulling off these cupcake little games. So it's fun to really see the team play, even if it's like a close loss against UConn. Like you can actually get to see, especially like AJ Devonsa, and just see what kind of a player he is and how he's going to continue to progress. And
I think it gives you a good indicator of how teams are going to play in March Madness too. When they have these early games against other teams that are bound for the tournament, I think it gives you a good indicator. And I think what we saw on Saturday from BYU is that they can hang in a tournament scenario. And so what do you guys think they beat Wisconsin on Saturday?
I do. I mean, BYU was down by like 20 at one point against UConn, but they came back and had a chance to send that game into overtime or even take the win. One turnover finished the deal there. But, I mean, you're missing 2 of your starters in that game. And so I think BYU showed that they are a legit top 10 team.
Yeah.
Where they land in that, be 10 or 3, I don't know. I mean,
they're at
yet.
9 right now. So.
But I think they're a legit top 10 team, and I
agree.
Wisconsin's great, but I think it'll be a good bounce back win for BYU to go prove themselves.
Yeah, I don't have too many concerns about BYU where they're at right now. And then quick little sidebar on Utah basketball. They're 4-0. It hasn't been a pretty 4-0. They beat Weber by 3.
In overtime, too.
And then they beat Sam Houston State by 6. My preseason prediction for this team was that they'd go 9-3 out of conference and then be like 9-9 in conference and kind of end up being on the outside looking in. I'm not so sure now. I think this team might get just absolutely obliterated in Big 12 play. Genuinely, I don't know if they're gonna hang. So Zach, you're the Utah fan here. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely been a couple rough years for Utah basketball, and I mean it's nice to see them kind of winning again and having a couple players that are looking like stars or people that will kind of carry the team. But yeah, I don't know. Once it comes to conference play, especially in the Big 12, there's so many good teams in there. It's going to be so hard to sneak out a win. But, hey, great start so far for the Alex Jensen era of the Utah men's basketball team. Hopefully some good progress in the future then.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to bring up. They just hired Alex Jensen. I think he's going to turn that place around. I really do. He's been good so far with recruiting. He's got some dogs on that team this year.
Hopefully fill up the stadium, actually.
They pack that arena. That's a nice arena.
Well, you know they're moving away from the Huntsman Center here in a few years, right? Which is completely mind-boggling. They're like, we want an on-campus environment. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, you're a commuter school, so you kind of have the closest thing you're going to get to it already. We can talk about that in another podcast episode. They announced that last year, and yeah, but
there you go.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on the teams around the state, boys?
No, I mean, we've got some. UVU's going to have some exciting basketball games. We're actually going to talk about one of theirs, but UVU is still a team to watch.
Yeah.
Weber State, again, another team to watch. I would love to see these teams continue to roll. And to mention briefly on Utah State's football game, We talked about their bowl game chances already, but I mean, we'll take it easy on him. But Rinker, the field goal kicker, he blew it, man. And so sad to see. Had multiple opportunities to win the game, but I don't know.
Tanner Rinker, man.
Think he bounces back, or do you think he gets in his own head?
I do. I think he'll bounce back. I think he'll be okay. It was disappointing, to say the least. It really was disappointing, to say the least, about Tanner Rinker. I mean, we could talk all day about that game. I don't think there's much to talk about. Best defensive performance of the season for Utah State by
100%.
far. We talked about that earlier. Just didn't go our way. And it's frustrating, it is. But I think the guys in that locker room, they understand that, and I think they're ready to go for Fresno State. I'm just hoping they don't get in their heads for Fresno State, because if they're still kind of licking their wounds from that last loss, it's going to get ugly really fast in Fresno.
Yeah, and also incredible clutchness due to Bryson Barnes to really put them in that situation to get it, and I think missed field goals and probably some plays that should have been called separately. I think that also changes the game for Utah State. So hopefully everyone, I guess, special teams, offense, defense continues, and especially the coaching staff, they make some fine tunes for the upcoming final 2 games.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think that UNLV game is going to end up being kind of a hinge game in the Bronco Mendenhall era, where Utah State, they looked like a legitimate conference championship contender in that game, just the way they played. And so I'm kind of thinking that's the hinge point. Maybe they don't win these next 2 games, but I think we're going to look back on the UNLV game and we're going to be like, oh, that's when the Bronco Mendenhall culture really took root, and that's when it really changed.
Yeah, I mean, Barnes had that beautiful 60-yard rushing touchdown.
Gosh.
Which, we mentioned this for Bear, tied him for the all-time record.
Tied Chucky Keaton in 2012. And you guys don't, I think that's the thing a lot of Utah State transplants don't understand.
Oh, I've heard much of
I grew up a Utah State fan, and let me tell you, man, Chucky Keaton was a bad man, dude. That guy was amazing.
Before the injury, Heisman style.
He was incredible. Yeah, there was a Heisman campaign that was pitched one year, and then he got knocked out against BYU, because we kind of had a back and forth with them of knocking each other's quarterbacks out. I'll fully accept it. We did it to their QBs more than they did it to ours. I think that was the only record of them hurting our quarterback. But, it happens. Football's a physical game.
There we go.
Yeah, some good running quarterbacks in the state.
Yeah.
Devin Dampier, Bear Bachmeyer, Bryson Barnes.
We've got
some of the best
QB
rushing
collection.
quarterbacks in the country
Fun QB
right
collection in the
Utah
state
can
right
run
now.
it. Look at that.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Kimball, for bringing up the Utah State game. I almost forgot about that. So I appreciate it.
Trying to keep that out of his mind.
I'm still
I just have not moved on from those missed field goals.
It was tough, man. It was tough. I think Rinker will come back. Kid's got only 1,000, followers on Instagram. He's probably seen every single message from degenerate gamblers, maybe some people in the fan base. Hopefully not. I would like to think our fan base is better than that.
Yeah.
So, I saw one guy tagging his brother in an Instagram comment, which is just that, you're crossing a line there. So, shout out Tanner Rinker, man. We're still with you. You're still our kicker.
But you better make it.
But you better make it the next time. Yeah, seriously. All right, awesome. Well, we are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to go into the final stand of the show. We're going to make some picks in regards to this week's games around the state, and we'll see you on the flip side of that. We're on the final leg here of Married to the Game, as it is officially called now and will be for the foreseeable future and perhaps forever. Yes, forever. Anyway, we're going to run into our picks now. We've got 3 guys, and so we're going to start tracking these bad boys. First game is Utah State at Fresno State. I believe that's an 8:15 kickoff on CBS Sports Network on Saturday, maybe 8:30.
Mountain West after dark.
Mountain West after dark. Almost Pac-12 after dark. We are almost so back,
One more
baby.
year.
We're almost so back.
Cannot wait.
I would like to call the We're So Back department to file a claim. We are almost so back. All right, Zach, who you got? Utah State at Fresno State.
Oh, man, this is going to be a tough one. I think we kind of talked about it with our hot takes, how Utah State's probably going to be on a roll now with a little bit of urgency. You got some good defense. Utah State's offense is also good. I mean,
I should mention Fresno State has the best defense.
They are
They're
incredible. But hopefully, Utah State will be able to pull off this one. Backs against the wall with fists a swinging. They might be able to crank out the win over Fresno State.
All right, Kimball, who you got?
Give me Fresno State. I think it's close, 3 or 7 point game, but I don't see Utah State winning this game on the road. I think we stay defeated on the road.
All right. Well, you guys already heard my hot take, so you know which direction I'm going with this. Plus, shout out to my friend Dallin Knudsen. I've been talking mad crap about this game with him for about 2 months now. So I'm doubling down. Utah State will go into Fresno, and they will get a win on Saturday night. If we do lose, Kimball, I do think it's going to be like a 3-7-point game because that's how Fresno State plays you. They play you tough. It'll be like the UNLV game, but...
All right, BYU Cincinnati. Yeah. Our next game to pick here, probably game of the week. In this state.
Game of the week.
Well, the
rankings come out tonight, so we'll withhold the rankings. But top 25 game.
Yeah, BYU will be 11 in those rankings. Cincinnati will drop out because they just lost. But still a big game. They were both ranked last week. We'll start with you, Zach.
Man, I just can't see a world where BYU doesn't take a win home here. Obviously, a loss would make everything really interesting, but I got to go with BYU. I think they're going to be able to handle business, how they've done with teams, and Cincinnati hasn't been looking absolutely prime lately. So I think BYU takes this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think BYU, and I do feel confident in saying I think they will win by 14+. I think BYU wins this game easily. They figure it out. I think it'll be a lot like the Iowa State game. They might start a little slow, maybe even a deficit, but I think they'll figure it out, and I think they'll win this game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking BYU big. 3-possession game.
Oh, wow, 3 possessions.
I think probably a win by like 17, but I think BYU really does take care
of it. It is Kalani Sitake's team, so they might keep it close. Who knows, right? Who knows, right?
We'll see.
All right, awesome. And then going into the last game, our deep cut game of the week, something a lot of people may not know is happening. There is an incredible basketball game happening in Orem, Utah tomorrow. It is a mid-major basketball fan's dream. The UC Irvine Anteaters, which might I add is one of the best mascots in all of college sports, is playing at the Utah Valley Wolverines. Kimball, you've been tooting the UVU train all year. I'm right there with you, man. You start us off. What do you think's going on here?
Hey, my family's a Wolverine family. They've all been or have graduated from that university, and we're all very... I think everyone in the state of Utah is a UVU fan. No one hates on them, let's be honest.
You can't hate UVU.
This is a big game. UC Irvine's good.
Yeah.
But give me the Wolverines. I think they barely pull it out, but give me the Wolverines to have probably one of the biggest upsets in school history and beat UC Irvine.
Dang.
That would be incredible.
All right. Zach, what are you taking here?
Like you said, it's hard not to root for the little brother, I guess, of Utah.
Party foul.
Whoa. I mean, just like...
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
We're not going to disagree.
We're not going to disagree with you.
Yeah. You love to see them do well, and so hopefully they'll be able to pull it off. I'm really rooting for them, but I don't know. Against UC Irvine, you might see UC Irvine end up winning this one, but... man, will I be rooting for UVU that game.
Yeah, I'll be rooting hard for the Wolverines. UC Irvine, I'm sure most people listening to the podcast don't know much about them. They're consistently in contention in the Big West. They're always UVU's going to the Big West next year when the WAC kind of I think they're becoming like the United Athletic Conference, something really stupid. Anyway, I could go on and on about that. Long live the WAC, man. Anyway, I think UC Irvine wins. Good preview of a perennial conference matchup, and I think this will be a game for years to come that's really exciting. But I think in this first edition of it, I think UC Irvine pulls out the victory.
Well, we'll see, but hey, go Wolverines.
Go Wolverines, man. All right, fellas. Well, that has been the Married to the Game podcast. How we feeling about the new title? New friend on the podcast, Zach Bates. I think I'm feeling good about it.
It's feeling good. If you guys know anyone who is married to the game, make sure to send them the podcast. They'd love to listen. We'd love to have them listen.
Absolutely. We're in the grassroots support phase here, so I know Kimball's too proud to do it, but I will do it. Please, 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 please subscribe to the podcast. Give us a follow. I swear you'll love it, even if you just like listening to our voices. If I've ever made you laugh, now is the time to repay that with a follow and a subscription. It doesn't cost you anything. Just do it. But this has been Married to the Game. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Catch you there.